Okay, for the aquarium room, I finally picked up an RODI unit, and I got this RO Buddie by AquaticLife. It's actually an RODI. It does 50 gallons per day. It's fairly compact, so it fits in a small area. You get the actual unit with the 3 cartridges. Here is your DI cartridge that actually is added onto the front, and this is your membrane that goes inside. It comes with a bunch of tubing, the white stuff. In here you have your mounting brackets and a wrench, and this is what hooks up to the sink. I also ordered some other line. I ordered red, yellow, and blue. I'm going to use it instead so that I know which one's waste, which one's what, so I can keep track. I also ordered a float kit so that I can have this hooked up all the time. It has the float, and it also has this other one as a safety. So that is going to work out well. The thing is, what I've done in the past is I have this tube here going into this bin, and it actually goes upstairs and goes under my kitchen sink. And I have an RODI up there for the house. It's hooked up to my ice maker, and it has drinking water, so all I have to do is hook a little hose up and turn it on at night, and it will put water in here. But I'm tired of doing that, and that's what that hose is for. This is the tub that I'm going to use, that I will put the float valve on. I'm going to have to run my lines over the top of the door and down, and I'll probably mount it someplace along here, probably. Not sure. I need to figure out where I'm going to mount the thing. But one thing I do not want to do is, most people use this end here and then they just hook it up to your faucet and turn it on when you need it. I don't want to do that. I want to have it hooked up at all times. So I went down to the hardware store, and this line here that goes under the sink, this is my cold water line with a shutoff that goes up to the sink up there. I will rehook this up on the bottom, but up on top I picked up a T, a threaded T, so this will screw into the bottom of the sink. On this end down here, I will put this threaded nipple in there, and that way I can rehook this up just like that, so I still have my continuous water line to my sink. In addition to that, I am going to put this in here permanently, so I have a shutoff, probably going up, because that's the direction it's going to go. And by doing that, I can then hook this on there permanently, and I have a continuous water line for my RODI. If I do need to shut it off, all I have to do is shut off this valve here. So it's just a matter of probably get this on there first, make sure it's not leaking. I bought pipe tape, of course you need it. So I'll get all those fittings on there, get everything hooked up, turn on my water, make sure it's not leaking anywhere, make sure that this fitting isn't leaking, nothing is, and this is holding. I won't open this up yet, because right now water would just shoot out the end of it. And then as I go along here, I will mount this unit, like I said, up here somewhere. I need to come up with a place to put it. And then I'm going to have the good water will go over the door into this bin with a float, so it'll be on all the time. And then the wastewater, let me get this thing to focus again. The wastewater, I could tie it into my sewer, but I think I'm just going to run it down into the sink and go down the drain. That's what I've done here with my central air conditioning system. This is the central air for the house. It goes up to the central air, and it works fine. It just drips a little water when the air conditioner's running, and then it's no problem at all. So I will add more to this as I get going on this, step by step, but hopefully I can get this thing set up this weekend, and then I'll have all the RODI water I need for my aquariums. I can use them for the South American cichlid tanks in the fish room, as well as I can use them for my 240 gallon salt for mixing water changes, and also for top off. So that is the plan, and I will add more to this as I go. Okay, I got my valve on there, and basically I just teed off the existing line. That is my main water main coming in on the cold line. Always use the cold line on these. And this has a shut off here, and then this is the piece that goes to the RODI. So then I will screw that on there to tie in. and everything is hooked up, the water is on, and I have no leaks. So I will try to come up with a place to put this thing now, up on this wall somewhere. Okay, I went ahead and added this board in here so I had something to nail it to, screw it to, and found me a piece of plywood in the shop. Went ahead and cut that out, notched it for here. I even made sure these were right, and I leveled them, and so it is centered, so it looks good. So anyway, that's where it's going to sit. I still have plenty of room to get to my sink, and then I'll have to run my cords, or my water lines, and get this thing hooked up. So I'm going to have to take a break now because I need to make a run, but I'll add more to this later. Okay, I need to remove the plugs from the supply, from the filtered water and the wastewater. I've already done those two, and I started on this. This clip was in here. What you do is you pull the clip out, same way on the other two. You push the white collar down, and as you hold it down, then the plug will come out. So those have been removed from this one. That is the supply water where the water comes in. I removed it from this one, which is the filtered water that goes to the container, and then the one from the wastewater. So they're ready for plugs. Here is my supply water line, and it has a clip on top of it also. My plan is I ran a hard line into here, so I have a permanent line going to that. That's where it's going to go. So what I need to do now is remove the clip and then insert this down inside the tube as far as it'll go and lift it up and put the clip back in. I'm going to do that now. I don't know if I can get this so you can see it or not. Okay, what we want to do is we have removed the clip, which is right here. I did order the red, the blue, and the yellow line rather than use their white. I need a little more. So you're supposed to push this down all the way, shove this in, and then lift this up to reinsert the clip. So that is installed, so now all I need to do is screw this onto my unit. So I will go do that and measure this to length, and then I will take the other end of this yellow line, since that's my supply line, and do the same thing right here. So the next step after that is to take this wastewater line, get it in there and run it in, and I can either go in a floor drain in the other room. I could tie into my sewer. I don't want to drill a hole in that. So I think I'm just going to go into this sink right here and just run it down the sink, because the option is if I go into the sink right here and I want to use that water for watering garden plants or house plants, you can dilute it down with a little bit of tap water, and it works very well, because for every 1 gallon of water you produce, you throw away 4. So that'll give me the opportunity to set a bucket in here, save some of that water, and reuse it. So that's what I'm going to do now. And then the filtered water will have to go from here. I will have to go up over the top of the door and down over to that container, and I hope I have enough hose to do that. So we will see if we can get this done, and then I will add more to this later. Okay, in the instructions it tells you to hook up these 3 water lines. This is your supply line coming from below. This is the wastewater line coming out, and this is where your water goes to your storage thing. But what they don't tell you, except in the troubleshooting, is when you push this in here, it'll stop. You need to keep pushing so that you can go past the O-ring to the second stop. It's called a second stop system. And if you don't do that, when you turn this on to flush it, all these fittings are going to leak. This one, all 3 that you just put in are going to leak terrible, and you're going to think it's broke. So anyway, make sure when you put these in that you push this little white thing down, pull the clip out, push it down, stuck this in until it stops, and then push harder until you get a second stop, and you'll feel it. And then put the clip back in, and it won't leak. I turned it on for 5 minutes like it says to flush the system, and it has been flushed. I have my water line ran up over the top and into my container. I don't have my float system in yet, but I will get that later. I just want to make sure that goes in the water, and I'll cut that to fit. But right now what it's asking me to do is to take this clip out, remove this hose here, and make sure when you put it in, you go to the second stop. I will remove this and put that membrane in there. And then I believe the next step is to put the deionization cartridge on top and fit it in. So I'll keep adding to this as I go. Okay, when you put this membrane in, you have to put it with this black gasket towards the top and make sure it goes in all the way. Once you get it in there, then you can put the lid back on, but I did want to point that out. I looked that up on a video. It does not go this way, it goes this way. Okay, I also bought the AquaticLife float system so I can have this on all the time. This takes a 5/8 bit. I had a 5/8 spade bit. You want to make sure this little tab is on the bottom and adjust your float so that as this floats up, it shuts off the water. And back here is where I tightened it. Now you want that rubber washer on the inside because that's where the water's at. And this little piece goes in next. You push this down, pull out the blue clip, which is right there. This is threaded. I did put some pipe thread tape on this, and I will go ahead and screw this into here and then all the way, make sure it's tight, and put the clip back in, and then I will cut this hose to length and get it in there, and then I should be good to go. As far as the system goes now, I put the RO membrane in, and it says to flush it for 30 minutes, and it runs slow, but it is running. And so once that has flushed for 30 minutes, then we'll start going with the DI cartridge and see if we can get it put in there. The other thing that comes with this is a solenoid to make sure that it doesn't overfill. And basically, you come from the water line, supply line, and this solenoid goes in between there. And you can see where it goes in. From there, it goes to your water intake. And then as your wastewater comes out, as your fill water comes out into your tub, then you have to go back over to the solenoid and back. So I don't know if I have enough tubing to do this, but I'm going to try. So anyway, I will chime back in when I get more on this. Okay, I believe I finally have this thing hooked up. I have my water line coming from under there. It's on all the time. This is the yellow one. Goes into the pressure sensitive switch, out of the switch, into the top of the sediment cartridge, comes out of the sediment cartridge into the bottom of the carbon cartridge. It goes through the carbon cartridge, going bottom to top. It then goes into the RO membrane. Once it comes out of the RO membrane, one side is wastewater, which is this loop here, and this is wastewater going into my sink drain. The other one is a supply line. This is the good water that goes into the bottom of the DI cartridge, which just got done filling up, and it's not quite full yet. It's slowly filling up. It's taken it quite a while, but it's the first time I've filled it, so yeah, it is receding. And then it goes out of there into the check valve, which is going the correct direction. Water flows that way. Out of the check valve, back into the pressure sensitive switch, out of the pressure sensitive switch, up over the door, and into the back of the float valve, and then that should work. And then once it gets full, it should shut it off. And I do now have water coming out. That is great. And it's not leaking on the back. That's cool. The way this works is when this float lifts up, pressure builds up in this line behind this check valve. And when the pressure builds up, that keeps the pressure in the line, and that pressure makes this switch shut down. It shuts down the whole system so that it will not overflow ever. So I'll chime in one more time once I know that this thing is working properly and getting water, but it took a while, but I think it's going to work out well.